if you're stuck in this situation and you're in a spiral of negativity at this point, understand that like you can change everything in just a short matter of time. Like if you analyze your behaviors, if you analyze your habits, if you analyze your friend circle, if you start changing that on a regular basis, 90 days later, you can be a completely different person. That's the beautiful thing about this life is like, if you feel stuck right now in any aspect of life, change it. Change what you're doing, change your habits, change where you go after work, change what you're consuming, change who you're talking to.
How do you find the will to fight back against a world that wants to keep you sedated, average, and stuck in place? Join us for the tools and strategies you need to create a life of abundance, discipline, and high achievement. This is the Tactical Empire with Jeff Smith.
Welcome to another episode of the Tactical Empire. Today, I'm joined by Sean Ryder. What's going on, man?
It's the best time of the year, Jeff.
It is.
It's not the holiday season yet, but it's that September where it's 45 degrees when you wake up and 75 by the afternoon. So you start the day in a hoodie and you end in a t-shirt. I mean, you can't beat that, can you? Jeff doesn't like 45-degree weather, so he's like, hell yeah, you can.
You can beat it with heat. So,
I mean, 75 is perfect, and it's after you've already been cold. So, like, it's fantastic. It's the best. I love wearing a hoodie in the morning.
That's fair. We're here in the Midwest, and it's all right. It's all right when it's sunny and 75, but as soon as that sun goes down, we're freezing. So, it's fast.
How's the heat in the RV? How's the heat?
It's good. It's good. We're making do. We're all right. I met a guy in a park in northern Indiana that said that he loves the snow, and so they go chase the snow. And he said that the coldest they've been in their RV was -3 degrees and got 6 foot of snow. And I was like, "There's nothing that sounds good about that to me." No, so
no,
he said
sir.
he had to get up on his roof and like shovel all the snow off his roof and stuff like that. And they were 6 feet would be above your doors as well. So you would have to like shovel your way out and everything else.
Sure.
Nothing I'm interested in. So
no. But we need to be grateful every time the sun
on our jersey.
What's that?
I said, we're chasing the sun on our jersey or our journey.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Was you got to be grateful as long as the sun's popping up over that mountain every morning. So that plays into today's topic. We just dropped an episode on abundance mindset for business owners and high achievers, and how to play more into an abundance mindset as opposed to a scarcity mindset. And one of the first things that you said was, you have to have gratitude. You have to practice gratefulness. And I'm glad I didn't ask the question on that podcast, because I think it's a standalone episode. And so I'm just going to straight up ask, how does Jeff Smith practice gratitude? And I'm framing it that way because I want people to know what exactly you do when it comes to gratefulness, not just why gratefulness is important. I think you guys can just Google that or find a YouTube video, but to know a little bit about, like, how do you actually implement it in your life, Jeff?
Man, that's such a loaded question, and it's going to be received so weird, but probably. But like, I feel like my biggest connection with like God or a higher spirit is with nature. And so I am really deliberate about going out in nature, and that allows me the time. I do walks every single day, multiple times a day, but like that's the time I really focus on like the gratitude that I have, because I feel like when I'm out in nature, it's very simple to be grateful for fucking anything. I'm like, whoa, grass is cool. I mean, I could be having a shit day. I mean, if you knew what goes on in my inbox on a regular basis in my phone, like this morning I got a huge invoice for insulation blowing that I didn't realize is happening. And like, that's a typical day for me. I usually wake up to fucking 4 or 5 figure invoices, and I'm like, that's awesome. Whatever. I didn't expect that. That sucks. And so like, I have all these opportunities to be negative on a regular basis. And so when I go out and I walk in nature, or I get outside and do things, I have the ability to put into perspective just how small of a microcosm my issues are, right? it's kind of like you're looking at the stars and you realize just how insignificant you are as this speck of dust who will turn into fucking soil
Sure.
soon in the bigger picture of things. And so for me, like it, that's the way I go through the thought process. And I'm deliberate about it in that I practice it every single day and I'm cognizant of it. And I'm like, hey, you haven't been grateful for anything today. Or if I'm feeling like in a mood and I'm like being an asshole and I'm like talking more sternly than I'm used to, which is like hard to believe for some people. But like if I'm just feel like I'm being a dick or I'm being overly sensitive or grouchy about something, I always try to recognize like what hasn't happened. And usually it's that moment of like recognizing the reality of what I'm involved in, which is like I'm pushing as hard as I can and it means a lot to me, but in the reality and the scope of the world and like its history and existence, I'm very insignificant. And like just bringing yourself down to the grounding of that it's all going to be okay. And like, hey, I'm super happy to have this tree right here or something like that.
Yeah.
It's super, it sounds weird as fuck. That's how that's how my brain works.
Well, I think, I think I do the same thing. I just articulate or teach people it differently. I mean, when I look at it at my gratefulness exercises, it's kind of doing the same thing. It's taking the focus from things that I think are super important, which are my tasks for the day, whether that's in my personal life or in my career, and then putting them back down to like the smallest thing possible. Like you said, you're using grass as an example, but like I think that's a part of being grateful is finding something in the here and now and analyzing it. Maybe not like analyzing it in this way, but like I read this somewhere where it was like, when you're on a walk, try and find like in your neighborhood, if you walk your neighborhood every single day, there's something in that neighborhood that you never noticed. So when you purposely go out and look for that, and it might just be the way that your neighbor's bush is growing against the side of their house. And you're like, man, that's really interesting. Look at like right now it's weird. We have vines growing in our rose bushes. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I yanked on it. It just kept coming and coming. And like, I got down on my knees and looked at it. And like, I just looked at how it was literally just wrapping itself around this rose bush. And I was like, that's fucking cool. Like, I know it's not supposed to be there. I don't know if it's going to kill. I don't know what vines do for rose bushes, but I was like, I know I need to get it out of there, but like, that's cool looking. Right. It was just a moment of pause, but I do the same thing. Right. As soon as my wife and kids leave for the day, the first thing I do is walk my dogs. And I love where I live. I think so far we've talked very micro level, but like go back, those of you that follow me on social media, you see me maybe post this once a month, but like from a macro level side of things, I always say, if you get these 3 things right, then 90% of your life is exactly like what you want. And for lack of a better term, perfect. Love who you live with, love where you live, love what you do. And I genuinely love where I live. I love my house. I love where my house sits. It's on a little hill. I love that I can see, we're in the Shenandoah Valley. So we have the Appalachian Mountains and the Blue Ridge Mountains or whatever. One's in the front of my house, one's in the back of my house. So when I walk my dogs, I'm at the top of my neighborhood. And this is right after the sun rises, depending on what time of year. It might be as the sun's coming up or it might be up a little bit. But like the one thing you don't get when you live in a neighborhood, and even worse, a big city, you don't realize how big the sky is. But like there's nothing around my neighborhood. Like there's trees on the outskirts, but when I'm walking on the road, like there aren't houses right up against the road. There aren't trees. So all I see is blue sky. If there's clouds, cool. If the sun just came up, then it's pink, it's purple, it's orange. Every single morning, the sky is different where I live. Every single morning. And it's different in the front of my house than the back of my house. The front of my house could be blue skies, puffy white clouds. I turn around and look out the back window and it might be a black thunderstorm rolling across the mountain of West Virginia. And so like that puts shit in perspective real quick. I'm like, oh shit, look, it's beautiful out here. And then it's going to be hell-bent hail, rain, thunderstorms, and lightning here in about 15 minutes. And I love that. And I get to watch that. And it just takes your mind off of the shit that we get bombarded with every single day. I think this goes back to last episode when we talked about inputs and who we allowed to put input things into our lives. And so it's that moment of disconnection to the task that we have to do that day. And it comes back to how simple life is, right? That we just get to breathe air in and breathe air out, and we get to eat hopefully healthy food, and we get to sleep, and we got to wake up this morning. And, at the end of the day, I love all that. Something, also more tactical that I do is I do have a journal. I don't write in it every single day. So what I do is when I wake up, and I usually do the cold plunge for 3 minutes, and then I have my ritual of making my coffee. The Daily Stoic is sitting on top of my coffee maker, and I have a journal that I can write in, and they're both on top of one another. So I'll make my coffee, I'll grab both of those. And so the Daily Stoic usually does a really good job at setting my mind right for the moment or the day, or at least the first part of my day. If I have a little bit more time or something's been on my mind, I will take out the journal and I'll jot it down. If I have extra time, but I don't have anything I want to write, and this is one thing that people that journal may not do, that I do, is I go back and reread the shit I've already written. Like, so many times people are looking for the new thing. They're looking for the new book. They're looking for the new #1 seller, right? The new bestseller. What's better than a new bestseller is the book that's been on the bestseller list for the last 30 years. Right? It's tried and true. So same thing with your thoughts. Like, go back and read some of the things that you wrote that you were thankful for. And there's one page in my journal where I was like, I literally just wrote the question, what am I grateful for? And I just brain dumped everything I'm grateful for. So I can go back to that. There's moments in that journal when I, closed my business and people weren't happy with me. And I had, some thoughts, and I had to get it out of my head, and I put it in that journal. I'll go back and read that. Like, damn, it really puts in perspective that, like, that shit doesn't last very long. Like, those negative thoughts, the things people say about you, the sometimes when you question yourself, like, you will progress, you will get better, you won't be in that mud forever. And so these gratefulness exercises have helped accelerate my ability to get past some of the things that have held me back for a longer time in the past. Is there anything else, Jeff, that you do on a maybe regular basis? And again, like, if you have kids, it's very simple. Like, go play with your kids. My wife invited people over for a workout yesterday morning, and I normally do the workout before they get there. So I'll write the workout, I'll do it, and then I'll kind of like semi-coach them when they go through it, or just cheer them on, whatever. Mm-hmm. But yesterday I was going to do the workout with them, and literally right before we hit go, my son came out and was like, Dad, we need to finish building the Lincoln log house that we started the day before. And like, I was like, man, it's a 30-minute workout. I was like, let's do it after I work out. And he was just adamant, like, no, right now. And like, he grabbed my hand. I was like, all right, y'all have fun with your workout. And I walked in and we built Lincoln logs. And, it's just so happens that he was done building Lincoln logs as soon as they finished the workout, like to the T, exactly 30 minutes long. He was done. And so I went out and I worked out by myself, but like, it gave me 30 minutes with my son. I didn't need that workout was not more important than building a log house with my son that he wants to tear down as soon as you put the last piece on it. Right. And that's, for me, that's more important than all the things and struggles problems that I'm trying to solve outside of that.
Well, I mean, that really just puts it into perspective. I love that you said journal, because writing the stuff is so powerful, and it really is a great tip. Because you're spot on with the level of commitment that it takes, and the etching into your brain, and like how it affects you neurologically is just compounded by writing it. So like, that's a great tip. I write a lot of different things, and I do sometimes write gratitude lists. I've gone through seasons where I've listed 5 things a day and been consistent with doing that, writing them down in our journals or whatever. But so that's a really good tip. But your point, kids, yeah, I mean, they're just constantly doing stuff that you're like, oh, this is awesome. And we're super fortunate and super lucky. But I mean, to your point about all of it is like, we just really have to, like, I say that's why, like, nature is my connection with God, because like, that's how you really just say, like, there's probably more shit going on than I have control over. And like, while this is a huge issue to me, or I made it a huge issue
Mm,
internally, it's
yeah.
really not a significant thing. And at the end of the day, like when we go through worst case scenarios in different situations, right? Like, you think this is the end of the world because this particular thing is affecting you. And the reality of it is, like you said, like, this shit's going to be over next week or next month, or if it's really bad, it'll still be gone in 90 days. And the residual effect may last a little longer than that. And the
Mhm.
trauma of what went on,
Sure.
maybe, but a lot of times that's you building it up anyway. Like, I'm really operating on a level where right now, I don't know what could catastrophically sweep my legs out from under me outside of like a disease.
Mhm.
Because of how, like, tactical and insulated I have built everything. I mean, I go through problems every fucking day, but like, do they kind of go flow down the river and
Mhm.
they're gone and we're
Ooh.
at a different section of the river by 4 o'clock in the afternoon?
That's
Yes.
sorry to cut you off. That's interesting because that's actually one of the big the cool thing about the Stoics, and just not even to fathom that they wrote these things over 2000 years ago. They were very good at using metaphors or analogies or just visuals. And one
Mhm.
of the things, especially like Marcus Aurelius, what he wrote was to stand in a river daily, and you can a rushing river, and you can throw mud, shit, feces, anything you want in that river at your feet, and it just washes away. He's like, you can do the same thing with your mind,
Yeah.
right? And it wasn't to push things out of their head. Like the Stoics weren't like they had feelings, they had thoughts, of course they had problems and struggle, but it was like your your feelings, your storytelling about that thing, you can sweep that away now and be present in the river right now. And what do you have to do? Do you need to step out of the river, or do you need to walk through the river? So it's very interesting that you brought that up. And he kind of talked, there's one that I was going to post in the inner circle here soon. There is one he talks about being a boxer instead of a fencer, because the boxer, his weapon is a part of him. The fencer has to pick his up and put it down. But the boxer, they're prepared and ready at all times. And like you can play that in the gratefulness too. Is like we're all going to have to fight. We're all going to have to deal with things. But are you someone that has to go find some sort of special treatment, a la a fencing stick or sword, to fight it? Or are you prepared? Or are you a boxer? Can you knock it out right now? Are you standing in a river? Or are you stuck in quicksand? Right. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that you brought that up.
Mm. That's interesting. I like that because I mean, like, it's the boxer analogy is internal validation versus external validation. Like, also, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, how are you buttoned up internally? Are you the person that is content with what you're creating, and you don't need those external inputs to validate what you've built?
Mhm.
And so, like, there's a lot there. That's cool. Yeah, man. Like, I don't know. I think gratefulness is super, super important. It can build you into it. The other thing I was thinking about was, you were talking about the current and in the river, and like, one of the ways to look at that is like, you should be grateful that like anything can change at any moment in time, including you. And so when you talk about like the free flowing of a river, like, if you're stuck in this situation and you're in a spiral of negativity at this point, understand that like you can change everything in just a short matter of time.
Mm,
Like, if you analyze your behaviors, if you analyze your habits, if you analyze your friend circle, if you start changing that on a regular basis, 90 days later, you can be a completely different person.
mhm,
And that's the beautiful thing about this life is like, if you feel stuck right now in any aspect of life, change it. Change what you're doing, change your habits, change where you go after work, change what you're consuming, change who you're talking to.
mhm,
Like, what are you drinking? What are you eating? Like, all of that stuff. And
mhm,
like, I mean, honestly, not to plug a program, but I mean, I think that's one of the most powerful things about 75 Hard is like the recognition of like, most people in today's society will not do shit for 75 days straight, no matter what it is. You could ask them to do anything, and they will miss a day in 75 days.
Sure.
I don't care how consistent you think you are. So like that program is a true like wake up call to like what our human potential is if you can actually stay consistent.
Mhm.
Um, and so if you haven't done it, I would definitely recommend doing it at least once because it is powerful. No matter what your takeaways are, you're like, oh fuck, I should read more. Oh, like because most of us say we do stuff right, but when you audit your actual inputs and outputs, and you're like, how many days did you actually do it in the month? It shakes out to somewhere between 60 to 80%. Let's be
Mhm.
honest.
Yeah, for
Like
you're lucky, yeah.
for most people, yeah. Like, okay, I do this every single day, and at the end of the month, you've got 24 days, you did it. Like
Mhm.
that's the reality of most people. And that's not to the detriment of or shitting on anyone. I mean, I would be shitting on the people that actually did it like twice and they say they do it every day. But like if you hit 24 days, that's 80%. Like and and you're living a pretty solid consistency within that. Now, then you get to what you and I talk about a lot of times is like, are there laws of diminishing returns? Like, so if I take it from 24 to 26, how does that affect me? Okay, I get a little bit better. If I take it from 26 to 30, though, it costs me time with my family or my kids. So like I really don't want that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like it's just understanding and analyzing where you're at and what you can change.
Mhm.
And we should all be fucking grateful for that because
Yeah.
like most people are stuck in the negative spiral where they don't think they can change or they're hooked into all this past shame or these past failures or this negative self-talk going forward that they're incapable of doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is anybody listening can do anything they want to do because other humans have already done it. Now, is it going to take you a little longer than it took them? Maybe. Or is it going to take you like starting from scratch and figuring shit out? And they might do it in 18 months and it might take you 7 years. Maybe. But like, if it's something you want to do, you are perfectly capable of doing it.
Right.
Whether it's any dollar figure, any business, any relationship, I mean, relationships take other people. And so, I mean, so that might be dicey, but like there's like any goals you set, you can achieve if someone else has already done them, right?
Yep.
And so that's awesome.
Could be
Go
as
ahead.
easy as just putting a damn smile on your face. I mean, that's one thing, like as a husband and dad, like if I'm trying to say something in my household or in my family and no one's listening, or and then what you said earlier, like if I get a little moody, like one of the things that I've just been implementing recently is like I'll just try to smile. And it is fake it till I make it. I will smile. I will walk over and either hug and kiss my wife or get down on the ground with my kids. And I still have that, slightly hot temperature and high blood pressure for the moment. But after a while, like I just fake it till I make it. And I have that smile on my face and it starts to melt away. And then, oh, lo and behold, I changed my fucking attitude. It might have taken 5 or 10 minutes. It wasn't flipping a switch, but I made the purposeful act of putting a smile on my face, even if I wasn't happy in the moment. So I think there's millions of ways to skin that cat, but I think there's some things that people could take away from this episode. Jeff, if there's anything else you want to add, go for it. If not, I like it.
We've got a saying in our family called bite the pencil.
Mm.
So if our kids are being grouchy or they're in a bad mood or being negative, we always say bite the pencil because it's been proven that if you bite a pencil and you put it in your front teeth and bite it, it activates the same muscles as smiling. So it's disingenuous as parents to be like, put a smile on your face. So we say bite the pencil because it activates the same muscles and releases the same like serotonin in your brain
All right.
that then changes your state. And so yep.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Just did it for those of you that are not watching the YouTube video. I
So
like
Kate
it.
Ryder, you just text Sean anytime, bite the pencil if he's being a little moody asshole.
She will
So
take advantage of that. Thank you
there
very
we
much.
go.
I need to go buy about a box of 37 pencils for the next 2 weeks for sure.
All right, guys, follow us on Facebook. Go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. Come to the Tactical Empire community on Facebook. We'd love to have you there. Hit us up if you're interested in the inner circle. We've got our fall meetup coming up in October in Scottsdale. It's going to be a banger for sure. Yeah, have a great week. Keep kicking ass, building your empire, and raising good kids. We love you guys. Thank you for your support. Have a great week.